for Worldwide School. And I'd like to welcome you all to this evening webinar about useful communication phrases. I can see that many people have decided to join me today, so I'm very glad and thankful. But before we begin, could I ask you to use the chat box that's in your bottom right-hand corner, just to see if this works, because you'll be using it a lot, and I'd like to know if you can hear me. Okay, so just let me know if you can hear my voice, and this will be a sign for me to start. Okay, so Ilona, Bożena, Adrian, Igor, great. If you can hear me, there's probably things that all the rest of you can hear me, and we can start. So maybe I should begin with very short story about why I decided to talk to you about these particular phrases that we're going to talk about. It's mainly because they are very often used by native speakers in real-life situations, but are very often neglected by textbooks which you use to learn English. So this is what you can expect in this webinar, to actually learn or remind yourselves of 11 phrases that are pretty useful and quite popular, but you won't find descriptions or examples of them or exercises based on them in your textbooks. Maybe only in very few textbooks. One more piece of information. This is just the first part of my story related to those useful phrases. There will be another webinar in February in which I'll give you my second installment. So let's begin. Just like I said, we will be, actually you will be using your chat a lot. So you can expect some exercises and some questions, and I hope to involve you a lot. Let's start with the first sentence, first sample. This is what the webinar is actually built like. We'll start with some sentences like this one, in which I've hidden those useful phrases. So can you actually spot the one I had in mind in here? Have a look. This deal looks too good to be true. There must be a catch somewhere. So the word in question is a catch. My question to you guys is this: have you ever come across the word catch in this meaning? Not as a verb, but as a noun. And could I ask you to type your suggestions? You know, what does it mean? What do you think? What do you think it means? So you've never come across it. Excellent. Very good news. This means you learn something. So actually, Bożena, you are right. It's a kind of a trap. Okay. So it's very often used in contracts. Oh, I mean, it's very often used to talk about contracts which are kind of, iffy, or about situations in which you think there might be, some small print which is not really very much evident. So a catch is a hidden problem or difficulty. So very good. Do you remember the last time you wanted to use this word? Maybe it was the last time you read through a contract. That's right. So that's the first word, a catch. Now, the second sentence, which I wanted to show you, is this. The internet, to my mind, represents information exchange at its best. And this time, I wanted to show you a longer phrase, which is to my mind. So could I involve you one more time into using your fingers a little bit? So what does to my mind mean? Can you think of any synonym? to that phrase? To my mind. How would you describe it? Or what other phrase would you use instead of it? In my opinion. Very good. Excellent. That's the point. But I don't know if you've noticed that it's not very often used. Usually we say, in my opinion, right? So why not use to my mind, which is just the same? Okay, maybe you could use it right now. Okay, could I ask all of you, actually, that would be great if all of you, typed something right now. Could you start a sentence with "to my mind" and finish it with your own idea? Okay, so this could be about anything, but this is my little request to you. Start writing a sentence "to my mind" and finish it with your own funny, clever, absurd idea, whatever comes to your mind. And if you do, well, I'll be very grateful. That's for sure. I cannot reward you with anything but my gratitude. Okay, Bożena, to your mind, dogs are better than cats. All right, well, I accept it. Let's agree to differ, all right? And Agnieszka writes, to my mind, this webinar can be really useful. Thank you very much, Agnieszka. And to your mind, Ursula, English is strange. Really? Maybe it is strange. And Elżbieta, to my mind, it's good taking part in worldwide school webinars. Thank you very much. Okay, brilliant. You're all brilliant. And those of you who haven't written anything, were probably thinking, to my mind, Piotrek is a boring teacher. Very good. Even thinking is something to be grateful for. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, in which I have one more phrase for you. This time goes like this. Bear in mind that some children will need help. Okay, this sentence, I think I took it from a dictionary. It's taken out of the context, but it shows the phrase I wanted to highlight quite well. Bear in mind. So what does that mean? If you bear something in your mind, to bear in mind. Any good translation or description? Very good, Adrian. And very good. If you bear something in mind, it's in your head, right? So that's the description. To remember a fact or piece of information that is important or could be useful in future. And one little tip I could give you is how to pronounce the word. You pronounce it just the same as the big animal, which you can find in Alaska or even Polish mountains, right? It's bear. So bear in mind. And for those of you who are a little bit more inquisitive, interested in the language, which is strange, who said that language is strange? That English language is strange. It was you, Ursula, right? So if you'd like to dig a little bit more into bear in mind, you'll find, and the rest of you too, you can find very interesting history. We don't have time for that, but bear in mind is in a way related to phrases like "I was born to bear a child," etc., etc. Okay, so I encourage you to do a little bit more research. Unfortunately, we have to move on to the next sentence, which is, he looks very young in this photo. Mind you, it was taken years ago. So this time, one more time actually, we are focusing on a phrase with the word mind. So what's this mind you? Have you ever heard it? Okay, Marta. This could be a good description. And Ilona, I'm sure we could translate it in this way as well. So anyway, let's take a look at some more description. Mind you is used when saying something that is almost the opposite of what you have just said, or that explains it or emphasizes it. Okay. So there's no one-to-one, very clear, direct translation from English into Polish. So this is why this phrase is so interesting, I think. He looks very young in this photo. Mind you, it was taken years ago. Okay. So the way I've built this webinar is that every 4 phrases, there is a short revision, which I think is going to happen right now. Okay, so we'll use our brains a little bit more right now. We'll test our short-term memory. So we've had 4 phrases, right? 4 phrases. Could you try to remind yourselves of these phrases and use the fingers one more time? So what kind of phrases have we had so far? We had 4, okay? So who remembers the 4 phrases we've just discussed? Bear in mind, definitely. Mind you, yes. Mind you, bear in mind, that's 2. We need 2 more. Okay. To my mind, yes, and a catch. All right, so one more time. A catch, to my mind, mind you, and bear in mind. So that's the 4 phrases. And now, that's the exercise that I've got for you. This is very basic. We have 4 sentences, 4 gaps, and you've just reminded yourselves of those 4 phrases we practiced. So how to fill them in? Could I ask you to type the right answers? You can do it in the following way. Just, number 1, the missing phrase. Number 2, the missing phrase. Number 3, the missing phrase, and so on. Let's see who's first with all correct answers. Okay. Okay. Or we could do it one by one. It's not a race. We just want to check our short-term memory here. Definitely, these are the phrases. These are. Be careful about number 1 and number 4, because I think more than one phrase could work here. Okay, these are all natural, healthy pills. Something. Tourists must that they are visitors in another country. The is that you can't enter the competition unless you've spent $100 in the store. And the last one, they are horribly expensive, but they are the best. So, bear in mind, they are the best. Yeah, why not? Number 1, to my mind, these are all natural healthy pills, to my mind. That could work. Number 3, Agnieszka says that it's a catch. Yeah. Number 3, yeah, catch, for sure. And what about number 2? What about number 2? Okay, let's see the answers, all right? This is how it goes. Well, these are all natural healthy pills, mind you. I guess we could also say to my mind here. Why not, right? Tourists must bear in mind that they are visitors in another country. The catch is that you can't enter the competition unless... And they are horribly expensive, but to my mind, they are the best. I hope you agree with that. And if you were thinking that they are horribly expensive, but mind you, they are the best, I think this works quite well as well. All right, you ready for the next batch of phrases? Okay, here we go. So this time we have a mini dialogue. Thank you so much for your help. Not at all. Not at all? Have you ever heard this? You know, from a person, you know, somewhere. Was it in the United States? Was it in the UK? And I agree with Bożena and Agnieszka about the meaning, right? There are many ways to respond to thank you. You can say no problem, no worries, many other that I can't remember right now, but one of them is not at all. And you are right. You are right, Ursula and Ilona. This is particularly British, right? Not at all. Mm-hmm. So actually, one of the ways of activating this vocabulary that we are talking about right now is you using it. What I'm saying right now, you can use this in relation to any of those phrases. My point is this. After we finish the webinar, which is in about 15 minutes, right, you will be probably exposed to some situation in which you will use English. I don't know, at work, maybe in your private life. Why don't you take 2, 3, 4, maybe 11 phrases from this webinar and, you know, try to use them? Because if you use them, they will become your active vocabulary. Right? Now they are in your short-term memory. Maybe later you will put them into your long-term memory, but definitely they will become your active vocabulary when you use them. So with this one, it's really very easy, right? You will do someone a favor, they will thank you, and you will say, not at all. Okay, short description. We can skip that and move on to this one. Hearing her voice on the phone really made my day. Now, you may remember Clint Eastwood using this phrase in Dirty Harry, right? In a specific context. But this phrase is so much more universal than just, you know, the context of that particular scene in this film. So what does it really mean if you make somebody's day? When do you use it? Agnieszka, very good. Mm-hmm. You make someone happy. So hearing her voice on the phone really made my day. Has anything like that happened to you today? Do you remember any situation today in which someone made your day? In my case, I'm not really sure. This was just a typical day for me. Well, one of the main and one of the best points is, you know, talking to you, right? So maybe this made my evening, meeting you guys. So no stories? Okay. Keep it to yourselves. Keep it to yourselves, but remember about using it in your lives. Okay, one more. This time, it's maybe a little bit less evident. The word in question is reckon. Do you reckon he'll agree to see us? So, what is reckon? I'm guessing that some of you haven't seen this word before, but even if you haven't, then I guess you can maybe read the meaning from the context. So what does that mean? Think about it, and I'll take a sip of my coffee. So, really? Is that difficult? Do you think? Very nice, Bożena. Do you think? So actually, this is just one more way to say think or suppose. You might consider it a bit more sophisticated way, or a bit more B2-ish or C1-ish or C2-ish. Well, anyway, if you want to, raise your English to level C2 or C1, from time to time, you can use in spoken language, in everyday conversations, the word reckon. So do you reckon he'll agree with us? I reckon it's late, right? That's how we use it. And now, just one more before another revision. Have a look at that short sentence. Fancy a quick drink, Emma? Fancy? It's not an adjective. It's a verb, and it actually means what Sabrina has suggested. It means, would you like? And one more question. Do you think it's more British or more American? What do you think? Actually, I think it's a bit more British than American. But, now we sometimes can't really say, if what we hear is American English or British English. Sometimes it's just global English, right? Because English belongs to everybody right now. And it's good to know the word fancy as a verb. And it means what you've just said. So fancy going to cinema? Fancy a cup of coffee? So what follows the word fancy in this meaning is very often a verb with ing. So fancy going to the cinema, or just a noun. Fancy a quick drink, just like in the example. All right, let's revise. So short-term memory. The last phrase was fancy, right? What was before fancy? What word did we discuss before fancy? Reckon, exactly. And before reckon, reckon, R-E-C-K-O-N, right? Not at all. Very good. So we had fancy, reckon, not at all, and make my day. Great. You have excellent brains. So let's use them. 4 sentences again, and we can do it all in lump or just one by one. It's up to you. Have a look at the first sentence. How long do you it will take? Reckon. I think you're right. Bożena, Sabrina, Agnieszka? Great. So what about number 2? Sorry, but I don't... Something going out tonight. Fancy. Not bad. Even very good. Number 3 now. All he said after I thanked him was... All he said after I thanked him was not at all. Bożena, you're really quick. All right. And the last one, was make my day, right? Of course. Go on, tell him you like his new suit. It will make his day. All right, brilliant. I think we're ready to learn or remind ourselves of the next 3 phrases. This time it's only 3. It's getting late. I'm a bit of a bore and you're tired, so let's speed it up. The sentence is this. What's with all the sad faces? What's with all the sad faces? So I'm thinking, what's with? What is it? How do you translate it? What does that mean? What's with all the sad faces? Let's imagine a situation. You're entering a room with some co-workers, and everybody, has this long face, sad, and you're surprised because nothing has really happened. So you're asking, what's with all the sad faces? Exactly. Exactly, Agnieszka, exactly, Bożena, and this is what it means. This is how you use it. You use it to ask the reason for something. So, what's with all that, thing about assassinating someone, in Iran, etc., etc. Okay, so one more, and this time it goes like this. Two people talking. Care for a drink? One person says, and the other one replies, I'll take a rain check, thanks. Rain check? Is that a name of a drink? I don't think so. What do you think that means? Definitely not a name of a drink. So, by the way, this time it's a little bit more American than British. And for those of you who think that English is strange, this could be one more challenge, looking it up in a dictionary and finding that this phrase has its origins in the field of chemistry, I think. Right? There's a little story about chemistry. Agnieszka, yeah, very good. So to take a rain check is used to say that you will do something in the future, right? But not now. Care for a drink? I'll take a rain check. Would you like to, come and join us this evening? I'll take a rain check, right? So pretty useful, I guess. At least for those of you who think or who are assertive, right? Okay, and sadly, the next phrase in the pick background will be the last. And it goes like this. Beats me why he wants such a big car. Excuse me? Beats me? What's that? Beats me. It could be this, Anna, but it isn't. Another way you could say the same, which is also not very popular, is search me. For example, do you know what makes the plane fly? And you could reply, beats me. Or you could reply, search me. Or do you know where the keys are? Beats me. Search me. Okay. Okay. This is clearly new. So beats me is used to say that you just don't know something, or you cannot understand it or explain it. Okay? So it's great, it's new. It's great that some of you haven't heard it. If this is the only phrase you didn't know, and you can take it from these 30 minutes of our time here, I'll be glad. I'll be glad. Okay, beats me why he wants such a big car. Great. All right, time to revise. And now revise seriously, okay? It's not just 4 easy gaps this time. I've got more, and this revision is divided into 2 parts. And we'll just do this quickly, okay? Just one by one. So, oh, by the way, there are some new sentences in here and some old sentences, so this should be easy in a way as well. So, how long do you? It will take. Reckon. Very good. Number 2. Sorry, but I don't. Something going out tonight. Fancy. Yes. Oh, Agnieszka, you are fast. Number 3. How do you measure such a thing? Me. Number 3 beats me. Oh, Agnieszka, you should get some sort of prize from Worldwide School. I'm not sure what's it gonna be, but maybe just a firm handshake. Yeah. I would really love to give you my firm handshake for being so fast. Number 4. All he said after I thanked him was not at... Oh, very good. And number 5, go on. Tell him you like his new suit. It will make his day. Okay. Right. And the last one, these are all natural, healthy pills. Mind you. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the second part. The something is that you can't enter the competition unless you've spent $100. The catch, of course. They are horribly expensive, but to my something, they are the best. That's to my mind. Excellent. Number 3. I'm sorry I'm busy on Saturday. Can I take a something check? A rain check, of course. And number 4, something with all the Christmas decor being out before Halloween. Number 4, right. So it's like, hey, why this Christmas, Christmassy, ornaments are here. Halloween has just finished. Very good, Agnieszka. What's with? And no. This time it was Bożena. Okay. So what's with all the Christmas decor before Halloween? Nice. And the last one is tourists must bear in mind that they are visitors in another country. In other words, when in Rome, do as Romans do. Okay, that's it. Well, time flies. We've just revised or learned 11 expressions, and a little favor you could do yourselves is, just like I said, turn this passive knowledge into real-life practice. Okay, so why don't you take some of those 11 phrases from this webinar and put them into your, life. So next time you are in a situation when you are talking to someone in English, maybe you could, engineer your language a little and use one of those phrases like mind you, or fancy, or beats me, or maybe even not at all. Okay? And surely this will boost your vocabulary and maybe even boost your communication skills. So thank you very much for all your hard work today and for spending the 30 minutes with me. We'll be sending you a short script with the phrases and a link to the video. If someone wants to see it one more time, you'll have the opportunity. But for now, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening and see you soon. Actually, that's next month in February. You can join me for the second episode of Communication Phrases. Short, practical, and useful. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you again.